I thought it was just a gift from my mother-in-law. A wellness plan, she called it. Then the doctor asked, "You're aware of the agreement, right?" I laughed. Mark didn't. He just looked down. That's when my chest tightened, because suddenly everything felt planned. Controlled. And the truth was, I was never the wife. I didn't react right away. I couldn't. A few months earlier, I would have told anyone my life had finally stabilized. Not exciting, not dramatic, but calm. After my last relationship, calm felt like something I needed to protect. So when Linda handed me that box at their house in Medina, I didn't question it. We were sitting at that long, polished table that never felt like a place people actually relaxed. Everything about their house felt intentional. Controlled. Even the way she smiled when she passed it to me. "This is for you," she said. Mark gave me a small nod like it was normal. So I opened it. Inside was a thick binder. Tabs. Labels. Schedules. Meal plans. Supplements. Appointments. Doctors. I let out a small laugh, like, okay, this is a lot. Linda leaned in slightly. "We just want to take care of you properly now that you're part of the family." It sounded warm. Reasonable. So I said thank you. And that should have been the moment I asked questions. But I didn't. Because Mark squeezed my hand under the table like everything was fine. The appointment started the next week. Private clinic in Bellevue. No waiting. Everything already scheduled. Mark would remind me the night before. "Don't forget your appointment tomorrow." If I hesitated, he'd add, "Mom already confirmed it." That part always felt off. But not enough to push back. The first doctor, Dr. Karen Davis, was friendly. Easy to talk to. The questions started normal. Then they got specific. "How regular is your cycle? Any complications in your family? Have you ever done fertility testing?" I remember thinking, why does this matter right now? We hadn't even talked about kids seriously. When I asked Mark later, he just said, they like to plan ahead. So I let it go. Again. Then came the food. Linda didn't suggest meals. She arranged everything. A nutritionist, Lisa Taylor, started sending weekly plans. Groceries showed up without me ordering them. Everything measured. Timed. At first, it felt convenient. Then it got strict. No caffeine. No alcohol. No sugar spikes. Meals at exact times. And if I slipped, someone noticed. I went to a small birthday dinner in Seattle. Had a cupcake. Posted a photo. An hour later, Mark's sister Emily texted me. "Hey, maybe avoid sugar this month. It can affect things." I stared at that message longer than I should have. Affect what? When I got home, Mark was on the couch like nothing happened. "Emily saw your post," he said. "She's just helping." That was the first time something in me shifted. Not panic. Just awareness. Like I wasn't fully in control of my own life. Still, everything else looked fine. We didn't fight. Mark was calm. Predictable. And that made it harder to question anything. Until the appointment. Same clinic. Same routine. Except this time, Mark insisted on coming. "I'll go with you." "You don't have to." "I want to." Something about that sat wrong, but I ignored it. The doctor wasn't Dr. Davis. It was someone else. "Dr. Susan Jones," she said. Her tone was different. More direct. She asked a few basic questions. Then, "How are you feeling about starting a family soon?" I laughed lightly. "We haven't really talked about timelines yet." Silence. Not awkward. Just heavy. I looked at Mark. He wasn't smiling. He was staring down at his hands. And that's when something dropped in my stomach. Dr. Jones glanced at him, then back at me. I think there may have been a miscommunication. And in that moment, everything started to unravel. I didn't speak right away. I kept waiting for Mark to correct it. To laugh it off. To say something normal. He didn't. He just sat there. And Dr. Jones watched both of us like she was trying to decide how much she was allowed to say. "What kind of miscommunication?" I asked. My voice sounded steady, but it didn't feel like mine. Another pause. Then she said carefully, about the timeline. And the expectations moving forward. Expectations. I turned to Mark. What is she talking about? He finally looked at me. And I already knew, from his face alone, that whatever he said next wasn't going to make this better. "It's not how it sounds," he said. That's always the line people use when it's exactly how it sounds. "What expectations?" I asked. Dr. Jones shifted slightly. "I was under the impression that you had both agreed to begin trying within a specific time frame, with some medical support if needed." I felt my chest tighten. I didn't agree to anything like that. Silence again. I looked at Mark. "How long have you known about this?" He didn't hesitate. "Since before we got engaged." It was so simple. So calm. Like he was answering something obvious. I gripped the edge of the chair. "Before we got engaged?" He nodded. My parents wanted to make sure everything was aligned. Aligned. I actually laughed, but it came out wrong. Aligned with what? My body? "It's not like that," he said quickly. "They just want what's best for us." For us. I repeated. Dr. Jones cleared her throat softly. There were also notes about contingency plans. I turned back to her. What does that mean? Another glance at Mark. Then she chose her words carefully. Additional support methods, if natural conception didn't happen within the expected timeline. That was the moment it fully hit me. This wasn't planning. This was a system. A structure. Something already decided before I was even part of the conversation. I stood up too fast, the chair scraping against the floor. I need a minute. Mark stood too. Sarah. Don't, I said. We left the room. The hallway felt too bright, too quiet. I turned to him. How long were you going to keep this from me? I was going to tell you, he said. When? He didn't answer. That's what I thought. It's not like they're forcing you, he added. We'd still be raising the child together. That sentence made something inside me go cold. Still be raising the child. Like that was the part one should focus on. Do you hear yourself right now? I asked. They just have a plan, he said. They like structure. No, I said quietly. They have control. And for the first time since I'd known him, Mark didn't have a response ready. The drive back to Bellevue was quiet. Not tense. Not loud. Just empty. Like something had already ended, and we were both pretending it hadn't. I kept replaying everything in my head. The binder. The appointments. The food. Emily's messages. The way Linda always phrased things like decisions had already been made. And the worst part was realizing how many times I had ignored it. Because it was easier. Because everything else looked fine. When we got home, Mark finally spoke. You're overreacting. I let out a slow breath. Am I? Yes, he said. This is just how my family operates. They plan ahead. That's it. That's it. I repeated. They're not trying to hurt you. I looked at him. They didn't even think they needed to ask me. They assumed you'd understand. That word again. Understand. Like I was the problem for not seeing it their way. So, what was the plan? I asked. Just manage everything until I got pregnant? He hesitated. And that hesitation told me everything. They were just helping, he said. No, I said. They were deciding. He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated now. You're making this bigger than it is. No, I said again, quieter this time. I'm finally seeing it for what it is. He looked at me like I had changed. And maybe I had. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to make his family make sense. I was seeing them clearly. And I didn't fit anywhere in that system except where they had already placed me. That night, we stayed in the same apartment, but it didn't feel like the same place anymore. Everything looked the same. The couch. The kitchen. The quiet street outside. But I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't unfeel it. Mark moved around like nothing had changed. He made dinner. Asked if I was hungry. Turned on the TV. Normal. Too normal. I sat there watching him, trying to figure out if this was who he had always been, or if I had just chosen not to see it. Say something, he finally said. I looked at him. Okay, I said. Tell me the full plan. He hesitated again. Sarah. No. No more half answers. Tell me everything. He exhaled slowly, like he was giving in. They just wanted to make sure we didn't waste time, he said. We agreed we'd start trying within the first year. We. I repeated. I agreed, he corrected. But it was for us. For us, I said again, the words starting to lose meaning. And if that didn't work? I asked. They had options, he said. Options. I nodded slowly. Medical intervention? Yes. Strict timelines? Yes. And I wasn't supposed to know any of this? I was going to tell you, he said again, but it sounded weaker this time. When? I asked. After I was already in it? After I couldn't back out without destroying everything. He didn't answer. Because that was exactly the point. I stood up. I need space. Don't do that, he said quickly. Don't make this into something it's not. I looked at him, really looked at him. And what hit me wasn't anger. It was how calm he still was. Like this was manageable. Like I was the only variable that needed adjusting. You don't think this is a big deal, I said. It's not what you think, he replied. That's the problem, I said. You don't even hear how that sounds. He took a step toward me. We can fix this. We can adjust things. Set boundaries. That word again. Boundaries. Like this was something we could negotiate. Like I hadn't just found out my entire role in this marriage had been decided before I even said yes. I'm not something you adjust, I said quietly. And for the first time, something in his expression cracked. Not guilt. Not fully. Just discomfort. Like this wasn't going the way he expected. I went into the bedroom and started packing. Not everything. Just what I needed. Clothes. Personal things. The things that felt like mine. Mark stood in the doorway. You're really leaving over this? I didn't look at him. I'm leaving because I wasn't ever really included. That's not true. Then why didn't you tell me? Silence. That was the only answer he had. I zipped the bag. And that was it. I left 3 days later. Not in the middle of the night. Not dramatically. Just quietly. packed the last of my things while Mark was at work, closed the door behind me, and didn't look back. I stayed with Amy in Tacoma. Her place was small, messy, real. The first morning there, I woke up without an alarm. No schedule. No reminders. No one checking what I was eating or where I was going. I made coffee. Real coffee. And just stood there in her kitchen holding the mug, realizing how long it had been since something that simple felt like a choice. Mark started texting that same day. Can we talk? I didn't realize how it would feel. We can fix this. I didn't answer. Because every message felt like he was still trying to manage the situation instead of actually understanding it. Then his mother called. Linda. I almost didn't pick up. But I did. Her voice was calm. Polite. Controlled, like always. Sarah, she said. I think we can find a better way to move forward. A better way. I leaned against the counter. There is no we anymore. I think you're reacting emotionally, she replied. We can revise the expectations if that's what you need to feel comfortable. Revise. Expectations. Like it was a contract. Like I was still something they could renegotiate. I didn't even raise my voice. I'm not part of your plan, I said. You're already part of the family, she replied. No, I said quietly. I was part of your system. And I hung up. That was the last real conversation I had with any of them. It's been a few months now. I'm still in Tacoma. Still figuring things out. My life is smaller now. Simpler. No curated schedules. No quiet pressure. Just normal days that belong to me. And it's peaceful. But sometimes, late at night, I still think about it. Not about them. About him. Because part of me believes Mark didn't think he was doing anything wrong. That this was just normal to him. And I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Because if he knew and didn't care, that's one kind of betrayal. But if he truly didn't see it, then what kind of life would I have had staying there? Would I have slowly adjusted until it felt normal too? Would I have stopped questioning it? Would I have become part of that system without even realizing it? I don't have answers to that. I just know I left. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm actually living my own life. But I still wonder sometimes. Did I walk away from something controlling, or did I walk away too fast from something I could have fixed?